98 of Grant and Fanger, Kermit the Frog. So,
Kermit the Frog and Luke Bryan had a love
yeah.
child. It was Grant Infanger.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Stock Car Spectacle. I'm Ian Jortson.
I'm Mike Gamble.
And I'm Nick Kinsel.
And that's right, the three of us are finally back together on a show. I feel like it's been forever.
Schools.
It's good to be back with the boys. Move is almost done. So by this time next week, when we're doing our postseason show, the Stockies, I will be happily moved into a new apartment and done packing stuff up. Thank the Lord.
Yeah, school's been kicking the professor's ass this semester, man. Oof. It's been rough.
Yeah, that's what happens when you take 6 classes in one semester,
Hey, pal,
buddy.
I gotta do it, man. If I wanna graduate by the end of spring and move on, that's what I gotta do.
Understandable. All right, guys. So this is going to be a big show. This is going to be our championship edition. This upcoming weekend, we do have the championship races at Phoenix. But before we dig into all of that, let's start with our diecast of the week. Mike, what'd you bring for us?
All right. As you guys know, almost everything's out of my apartment, so I am strapped for options. But we're going to the championship weekend. We're going to go to my favorite NASCAR champion of all time. Once again, I'm going to go to my guy, Jeff Gordon. But this time it's going to be the Superman Monte Carlo. Yeah. This was a very awesome flea market find in Crown Point, Indiana. So got to love that. So, yeah, like I said, just kind of looking through my diecast, how could I tie it in? And, you know, he's the only one of my drivers that I was a big fan of that actually won a championship at the Cup level. So who better throw it back than old JG himself?
There you go. Yeah, I love that Superman car, and I kind of love how Hendrick has kind of kept up the theme of having like the Superman and Batman cars like throughout the years. So that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it seems like every time there's a Batman versus Superman kind of movie coming out or something with, along that superhero line, they seem to get the sponsorship. So that's pretty cool. I always like that a lot too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right, Nick, what'd you bring for us?
All right, man. In honor of Championship 4 weekend here at Phoenix, the guy whose diecast I got, he just won his way into the Championship 4 last weekend at Martinsville, and he clinched his 2014 NASCAR Nationwide Series Championship at this racetrack at Phoenix. So I brought out one of my favorite nationwide cars of all time, the 2014 Chase Elliott championship car. Guys, you've heard me talk about this paint scheme forever with this Nationwide Series body. This is like all-time favorite right here. Chase, this is his first season running full-time in the Nationwide Series, and he just took off right out of the gates. I unfortunately had to see him win in person at Chicagoland Speedway. Trevor Bayne finished second in that race. I was crying. It was bad. It was a rough time. But, man, I love this paint scheme. Good for Chase Elliott to win this championship, and I'm happy to see him in the championship for this weekend.
You were definitely that kid, weren't you?
Oh,
you were definitely that kid when Trevor finished second. You cried like a baby.
Oh, no, I was just so mad. Like 14, maybe 15 years old. 14-year-old Nick was just sitting there right as that race ended. I think I said the F word as loud as I possibly could, and there was only like a couple thousand in the stands. Nobody was really biased because it was a July race at Chicagoland for a nationwide series. That's not going to draw a big crowd, but man, I heard him come on the radio and say, just needed 5 more laps, and I screamed the F word even louder after that.
All right, boss, what you got for us?
All right, guys. So we are nearing the end of the season, and that also means that there are going to be some teams that are closing up. So, in honor of Levine Family Racing closing up shop, I got to go with the 95 when Matt DiBenedetto was driving it last year. It's their Barstool sports car. It's really weird to see Levine Family Racing leave after all these years in the Cup Series. Opening up some new doors for some other teams, but definitely going to be missed. And this is definitely their number one paint scheme they've ever driven.
Absolutely.
Yep, I love that car too. Weird. This is the first week I think in history that I have both of your guys' diecast of the week in my collection too. That never happened. Because
Yeah,
Ian's
that's a
usually playing something Harvick related.
Right.
Lord knows I don't have
Well,
that
I
anymore.
was gonna
So.
say I was surprised Ian didn't play the championship car, but the championship car is like $1,500, like $600 on eBay for Harvick's 2014 championship car. You gonna spend some money on that, Ian?
hell no. I got the championship car that says
Yeah.
champion on there, but it's like the Jimmy John's car. And then I
Aw.
and then I got his 2014 Budweiser car, and it's got the Chase stuff on there. So close enough. I'm not spending $700 on a goddamn diecast. But I wouldn't even throw my cards in for a Harvick diecast this week to put one out for diecast of the week because I am just so disappointed with everything that's happened.
I could only imagine.
All right, guys. So let's talk briefly about Martinsville. We had Grant Enfinger going on to win the race in the Truck Series, advancing his position into the championship four. Harrison Burton won at Martinsville. He's not in the playoffs, but definitely adds some credibility to him. And we had Chase Elliott winning the Cup race at Martinsville, bringing himself into the championship four. Really surprising we did not have Kevin Harvick going into the final four here. Things just did not work out well for them in this final round here. We had Kansas, where he just could not get around Joey Logano at all with that clean air. We had dumbass NASCAR allowing the cars to restart when it was misting at Texas. And then Kevin Harvick slammed into the wall, and then he was having troubles the whole race. And then Martinsville happened. For some reason, we decided to fight with Kenseth and cut a tire from battling with him. And then we ended up 2 laps down, trying to get back on the lead lap. And then we had the failed attempt of trying to spin out Kyle Busch at the end and then slamming into the wall. Just Kevin just trying to pull a Hail Mary there right at the end. It did not work out. So really disappointing to see the guy that has dominated all year lose it in this final round.
Yeah, it feels weird not seeing Kevin Harvick after his regular season. Not a championship four contender and championship four favorite, really. I couldn't believe it. I didn't get to see a whole lot of the Cup race on Sunday. I came back. I saw about the second half of the race. I had a work event that kept me until about 3:00, 3:30. And then, yeah, by the time I got home, I was looking, I saw the point standings as they run, and I couldn't believe it. And Harvick was down like 14, 15 spots at that point, and I just remember looking like, he's going to be right back up there soon. He'll be fine. He just could not make up any kind of ground. It was really almost just sad and disappointing to see. And I'm a guy who's kind of, I would say, one of the furthest things from a Harvick fan. So,
Yeah, right.
We see it in sports all the time that sometimes the best team doesn't win the championship, but for the best team to not even have a shot for the championship, oh man, that's tough. But hey, that's what this we've been tough on this NASCAR playoff format for the longest time, but that's what this format does. It creates unpredictable things right here, and it really creates a you cannot afford to have a bad race. And unfortunately for Kevin Harvick, he had 2 bad races. I'm not even going to count Kansas as a bad race because he should have won that race, but the aerodynamics package that we run took him away from that. But yeah, he had 2 really bad races when he did not need to have those. And unfortunately for him, he had guys below the cut line coming up and stealing spots. So it's unfortunate, but I think Harvick kind of said it best after he didn't even really seem too disappointed because he knows how kick-ass of a season that those guys had. And with these championships nowadays, he said the championship would have just kind of been a bonus to him. And he would rather have a season like he had with the 9 wins than he'd love the championship, but he just wasn't as disappointed as I thought he was going to be. But that just goes to show these championships just seem like bonuses for these drivers nowadays.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this playoff format. I do think that they can do things very differently that'll make it kind of show who the real true champion is. I mean, I get it. It's all for excitement, but that just kind of blows when you have a guy that's been dominant all season get 9 wins and then 2 races screw him out of a championship. I don't like that whatsoever. I think they really need to change something about that, but what can you do? Did not work out well for the 4 team in the round of 8. And we'll just look forward to 2021 because I really hope it's just as good as this year, even better.
Yeah, yeah, Ian, I have to tend to agree. I've never really enjoyed this playoff format, especially, even as a guy who last year really helped Ryan Blaney out a lot, the playoffs being the way they were. I always thought that, we had this big push to make a playoff system to be like the other sports, but I've always thought it was an apples and oranges comparison. In no other sport are you deep into the playoffs and the last place team is still competing and having direct and sometimes significant impact on the outcome of games, races, what have you. NASCAR has that. No other sport can you have things like, a mechanical failure happen and, change your whole season around. Those things just don't happen in other sports. They're unique to NASCAR. And that's why I always thought a playoff format is incredibly tricky to perfect. So, yeah, especially in a situation like this, we're watching the guy who was by far and away the best driver of the season, maybe only came close was Denny Hamlin, and he's not even one of your top 4 drivers at the end of the year. Just that fact alone, that he's not even in the top 4 seems a little weird.
Yeah, he's not even going to finish in the top 5 in points. Well, he could finish 5th in points this year, but it sucks. But like I said, it's the way this format works, and can't afford to have a bad race. It really sucks though. That Texas one kind of hurts a little bit more because of that mist and because of these cup cars aren't running these composite bodies like the Xfinity series are. Because I think had Harvick had one of those kind of bodies, the damage wasn't going to be too bad to his race car because that really affected the speed and the handling going forward. I think he would have been able to make up some time in that Martinsville after the tire went down. It was game over from there. That team just had no speed whatsoever. Really disappointing to see, though.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate, but man, I was on the edge of my seat just watching him, trying to, get past Newman. It was so hard just going for every single spot.
Right.
And then trying to turn Kyle at the end and just did not work out. And then we had the whole team communications with Eric Jones and Denny Hamlin. Don't pass Denny. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I think you should race 100% how you should. I don't think you should have your team tell you what to do, even with this team that is firing you in 2 races or 1 race after this. I think you should just say, fuck them, pass them, and just do whatever.
Right.
But whatever.
Well, I'm glad no penalties came from that because you hear these team orders all the time. So
Yeah.
that's not the way you want to get into the championship orders by something like that. But I will say though, that Martinsville Cup race was by far probably the race of the year because that was real racing right there. We talked so much about these packages and everything, but what we saw on Sunday at Martinsville, that was real hard short track racing right there. I loved every moment of it.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. So now we're going to take a look into our championship weekend. Professor, why don't you take it away?
All right, guys. I had a lot of fun putting this together. We started doing this last year. We did something kind of like this last year, and I think all 3 of us at the end kind of agreed that that worked really well. And what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be diving into the championship 4 of each series, the Truck, Xfinity, and the Cup. We're going to be looking at all 12 drivers, their path to the championship 4, and what they have to do to win the title on their given championship days. So to kind of cut time short, I've assigned 2 drivers of each series from my students here, my colleagues Ian and Mike to dive into and to see what they got to do to win the championship. So for the championship 4 for the Truck Series, we're going to start with them. We have Brett Moffitt, Zane Smith, Sheldon Creed, and Grant Infinger. We're going to start with Brett Moffitt. So for Brett Moffitt, it's been a steady year for the driver of the number 23 GMS Chevrolet. Moffitt has been to victory lane once this year at Kansas, and he's been really consistent as he's posted 10 top 5s and 15 top 10s in 22 starts this season. And going into Phoenix, Moffitt has to be one of the favorites because in 2 truck starts here, he's been to victory lane once, but that was back in 2018 when he drove for Hattori Racing. In 2019 for GMS, Moffitt came away 10th in the Phoenix race. And come on, guys, let's be honest. 10th place, that's not going to cut it for a championship. So, Ian, we're going to start with you. I'm giving you Brett Moffitt. Take us through tomorrow night. What does that 23 truck have to do to secure this championship?
I think the 23, Brett Moffitt, I think he has to do exactly what he has been doing in the round of 8 of the NASCAR playoffs. You can see he was very consistent. He finally got a win in these NASCAR playoffs, and I really think he's just got to play it cool like he has this entire playoffs and just race how he was, and I think he'll be golden. Got to avoid some of these younger guys that are in it, like Sheldon Creed and Zane Smith, because they are looking very fast. So I think he's just got to do what he's been doing. He finally got that monkey off his back and finally got a win. I think he's going to use that momentum and look as fast as he has been in the past few years. So he's just got to keep what he's been doing, and he'll get that championship.
I agree 100%. He's got to be looking as one of the favorites going into that one. So we're going to talk about his GMS teammate coming up next here, and that is the 21 of Zane Smith. So for 21-year-old Zane Smith, the 2020 season has been nothing but successful for this kid. Running in his first full-time truck season for GMS Racing in the number 21 truck, Zane Smith has found victory lane twice at Michigan and Dover and has posted 6 top 5s and 12 top 10s. And in the playoffs, Smith has 3 top 10 finishes with best finishes of 3rd. But coming now to Phoenix, Zane only has 1 career start at Phoenix Raceway, and it wasn't even in the trucks. It was in the Xfinity Series when he drove part-time in the 8 car for Junior Motorsports last season, where he drove that 8 car to a 5th place finish. So he was fast there. But my question now for Mike is, will that lack of experience at this track cost Smith the championship? Take us through Zane Smith's Friday night drive to a championship.
So to directly answer your question first about his lack of experience in a situation like that, that's gonna depend on his character and his makeup, and we're gonna find out what this young man is made up on Friday night. Sometimes you can get into a situation like this and you don't even have the understanding and the respect for the moment that you're in. So you just go in there and you race. You're not thinking about anything else. So sometimes ignorance can be bliss. That could play very well for this young man. It could go the other way too, being that he's never been in a situation like this in his young career. The moment could end up being a little too big for him as well. I don't think that's going to be the case. Like you said, Nick, Zane Smith's been very fast this year and has been a very poised race car driver. I think he will not. The moment won't be too big for him. I think he's going to handle himself very well. I think a win at Dover this year also kind of bodes well for him. He seems to be fast at those not quite short tracks, not quite intermediate tracks, that mile-ish kind of range. He's been very fast there. He got a win, like we said, at Dover. He had a pretty good finish at Martinsville. Didn't he finish, third, I think, this past weekend? Yeah. So these kind of tracks, short tracks, and the smaller size tracks that in between the intermediates, he's fast at. I don't know if I'd necessarily say that he's a favorite to win, nor do I think he needs to win the championship for this to be a successful year for Zane Smith, but I think he's going to have every opportunity to go out there and get it.
Absolutely. I think that one thing that could hurt him, it's going to hurt a lot of these young guys. Well, it's hurt a lot of these young guys this year is that truck series having no practice, no qualifying, especially for a championship race and for Zane Smith only having 1 start. But like Mike said, nonetheless, has to be a successful year in his rookies. Well, I don't even know if you'd call it a rookie season, but same difference.
Hey,
great.
Trevor's got the rookie stripes.
Yeah,
we'll call it rookie season.
That is true. I will call us a rookie season for Zane Smith. He is killing it down there. And now so GMS moving on, GMS has 3 out of the 4 championship 4 spots. We're going to move on to the other GMS contender, and that is the 2 truck of Sheldon Creed. 2020 has been quite the breakout season for 23-year-old Sheldon Creed. The 2018 ARCA Series champion burst onto the scene this season with 4 wins. The Kentucky win, that might have been a rain-short win, but a win is a win. He also took victories at the Daytona Road Course, Gateway, and in the Fall Texas race this past year. And he also has 8 top 5s and 12 top 10s on the season. Creed has been the dominant GMS truck, I'd say, this season, but his numbers at Phoenix don't look promising, as in the only 2 starts he has here, he has finishes of 10th and 12th. Again, not really championship-worthy finishes, but hey, it's 2020, and Creed has been much faster and way more consistent in years past. So can a 2 truck get the job done? Ian, what's Sheldon Creed got to do in this 2 truck to hoist that championship trophy tomorrow night?
I think Sheldon Creed, I think he's got to play it cool like he has all year. He's gotten the win at a lot of different styles of tracks. He got the win at Kentucky. He won the Daytona Road Course. He won at Gateway, which is another short-ish track, kind of like Phoenix. And then he got the win at Texas. We were really stunned with how great this kid was performing this year. I remember last year I picked him for
Yeah.
like one race, and you guys
And we were
kind of
like, well,
laughed
who
at
the
me.
hell is Sheldon Creed? That
And
was crazy.
now this kid is competing for a championship. So I really think he's got to race like he has all year, and that's just been clutch. Only one DNF this year too, so that's been really impressive. He knows how to keep the truck clean. So if he keeps it clean, I think he has a really good chance because he's just been looking very, very fast this year.
One thing that I think can hurt Sheldon Creed is he does tend to get a little aggressive on the racetrack at some points. And this is a racetrack going to Phoenix. He can get up to 5-6 wide going down that dog leg right there. So it's going to get dicey. So I think Sheldon needs to keep his cool on some of those restarts early on in the race. Those final 50 laps in that race, oh, it's all hell from there. All hell's going to break loose from there. But we saw it last week at Martinsville with Sheldon Creed. He kind of drove it a little aggressive, and he took himself out of contention quite a few times. And I've seen that a little bit out of him this season. So if he can just keep his cool for a little bit, he's got to survive. That's how he's going to get this done. He's got to survive. And that brings us to our last Championship 4 contender, and that is the 98 of Grant and Fanger, Kermit the Frog. So
Kermit the Frog and Luke Bryan had a love child. It was Grant Enfinger.
Yeah, pretty much. Grant Enfinger's 2020 season got off to a hot start as he won 2 of the first 4 races, Daytona and Atlanta, but he then cooled off through much of the summer months before finding victory lane once again at Richmond. And it came down to the wire at Martinsville as he was battling teammate Ben Rhodes for that final spot and Matt Crafton for that final spot for most of that race. But Enfinger was able to hold off his charging teammate in Ben Rhodes. Christian Eckes kind of helped that one out a little bit, but he held him off and others as he locked himself into the championship 4. And this season he posted 8 top 5s and 13 top 10s. And Enfinger coming to Phoenix, I think he's got quite some success coming here out of all 4 of these championship drivers, minus Brett Moffitt, who has the win here. Because in 3 races here, he's got 2 top 5 finishes, 4th being his best. So, Mike, the 98 has been fast as of late, and you got to think momentum's going his way coming off that Martinsville race win. Can the only non-GMS truck in the championship 4 get the job done? Take me through how he's going to do it.
So in my opinion, Grant Enfinger is probably the most well-rounded of the Championship 4 drivers. He can perform at all the different kind of racetracks. He can perform at a racetrack like Phoenix. He's been deep in the playoffs. He knows what he's got to do to get it done. But he's also been one of those guys where bad luck seems to come his way. Things just don't seem to kind of work out the way he needs them to sometimes too. Lady Luck has not always been on Grant Enfinger's side. I would say out of all the drivers, though, I do expect him to have the most composure, with maybe the exception of Brett Moffitt, because Brett Moffitt has also been here before. So you've got 2 of the younger guys that haven't really been here. We'll see how poised they are. We're not going to have to question that with a guy like Grant Enfinger. I think he's got all the tools in the bag to get it done this weekend at Phoenix and take home the championship. But will we? Another thing we always got to keep in the back of our mind, we've seen those Ilmore engines kind of blow up from time to time this year too, and they affected ThorSport heavily last year in the playoffs and at times this year too. Will that happen again this weekend? We're just going to have to wait and see. I think Grant Enfinger probably, in my opinion, has the best chance at the championship. This is his kind of racetrack. He's the most professional driver of the bunch, in my opinion. He's just got to go out there, not let the craziness of the truck series get in his way, do what he's got to do, and he's going to be there at the end.
So, yep, that brings me to this. We got two veterans going up against two young guns. It's time to make our championship predictions. So, Ian, we're going to start with you. Friday night, when it's all said and done, when 150 laps are complete, who is going to be the Gander Outdoor and RV Truck Series champion?
I really do think that it is Grant Enfinger's time. He's really kind of came out of nowhere this year. We usually see him maybe get a win or two. I don't know. It's kind of rare to see him kind of have a victorious season, and he's just completely turned it around this year. Very consistent at Phoenix. Like you said, he's got two top fives here in the three races that he's been. So I really think that this is the best opportunity for him. He's one of the most experienced guys in this Final Four. Him and Brett Moffitt are the veterans. So I really think that it is Grant Enfinger's time.
All right, Mike, who's hoisting that trophy Friday night?
I think it's going to be the 21 of Zane Smith. He's been bad fast. I think, like I said, I don't think the moment's going to be too big for him. I think he's young enough in his career. The fact that he doesn't really, I don't think he's going to truly appreciate the situation that he's in. That ignorance is bliss kind of mentality. You've seen it work out in other sports for young teams that get to points where maybe they really shouldn't be at and still find ways to succeed. I think you're going to see that same kind of thing with Zane Smith. He's fast. He's been good. He's going to put the cherry on top of what's been a phenomenal season. Zane Smith will be your champion on Friday night.
I like it. I like it. I'm going to go with his GMS teammate and that two truck of Sheldon Creed. I think this is Sheldon Creed's championship. I think he deserves it. Sheldon Creed's having a phenomenal season. Almost every race where you always seeing Sheldon Creed up there leading laps. And I think, like what I talked about earlier, if he keep his aggression down early, keep it cool, don't. The only way Sheldon Creed can lose this championship is if he loses it for himself, or if Lieutenant Jennifer Joe Cobb just like brake checks him or something like that, going too slow on the racetrack. But the only way he loses the championship is if he does it to himself. He's gotta keep his cool, like I said, for that first part of the race, and I think he's gonna do that. And I really do think that. I wish he still had his mullet, but ex-mullet boy, Sheldon Creed, two truck, GMS is getting the championship for 2020. It's going to be an exciting one. It's the truck series at Phoenix. We once saw these boys go 7 wide going down the dog legs. So who the hell knows what's going to happen here? All right, moving on. NASCAR Xfinity Series. Our 4 championship contenders for the Xfinity Series title. Justin Haley, pains me to say that. Justin Allgaier, Austin Cindric, and Chase Briscoe. This is a very tough, competitive championship 4. But we're going to start with that number 11 of Justin Haley first. So, first of all, Justin Haley, I got to say it, as much as it pains me to say it, what a season 2020 has been for that Cog Racing number 11 of Justin Haley. He found victory lane 3 times this season. Granted, they were at Talladega, Daytona, and that second Talladega race, and he's notched 10 top 5s and 20 top 10s on the year. And Haley has been labeled as that driver who can only win on the super speedway tracks. But if he wants to win this Xfinity Series championship, he's going to need to change that narrative there. Because I think to win this Xfinity Series championship, you are going to have to win this race. And he has 3 truck starts here at Phoenix. But his best finish came in 2015 when he finished 7th here. And in 3 Xfinity Series starts at Phoenix, Haley's best finish actually came earlier this season in the spring when he finished 5th. And oddly enough about that finish of 5th back in the spring, he had the highest finishing performance out of anybody in that race that's now in the championship 4. So he had a better finish than Allgaier, Briscoe, and Cindric in that race. So Haley got here on his consistency. He's going to need to repeat a performance like he did in the spring. But Ian, is a win in his cards to win this Xfinity Series championship as kind of the underdog here?
I really do not think that. I really think it's going to be very tough for Justin Haley to get this championship. I mean, look, the guy has only looked fast at the super speedways. Yeah, granted, he got that fifth place finish earlier this year at Phoenix, but you got guys like Justin Allgaier, Austin Cindric, and Chase Briscoe that are in this Final Four. And we know Justin Allgaier, like Phoenix is his track. He absolutely dominates there. So really, I think the only way that Justin Haley is going to get this championship if the other three guys wreck or have some other problems. So no, I think it's going to be very, very, very difficult for Justin Haley to win this championship.
So for me, if he does win this championship, it's going to be like the biggest slap in the face to me ever because I've
Is
been.
it going to be a bigger slap in the face than Coke Zero Sugar 400?
Dude, don't get me riled up here.
Is he
I'm
going to
trying
be the first you know, Cup Series winner to come back down and get a championship down here, Nick?
Man, you boys are trying to rile up the profession. That's detention for both of you guys, man. Dude, that would suck. That would absolutely suck if Justin Haley won this championship. But hey, that'd be a big slap in the face to me right there. But I agree with Ian. To me, Haley being in this championship four is kind of like when Martin Truex Jr. made the championship four in 2015, his second year at Furniture Row Racing. Yeah, he got to win that year, but there was no way he was going to go out there and beat those guys. He was just in there just because he got there, and that's where I think Justin Haley landed too. I would have rather have seen the 9-0 Gragson in here, but things didn't go his way in the last round, so I can't really say that. So, well, yeah, it's going to be a really tough road for Haley to pull this off. So, Mike, I'm giving you the 7 of Justin Allgaier, the Gator boy. The 2020 season has been such a roller coaster up and down season for the driver of the number 7 Junior Motorsports Chevrolet. This is a year that saw 8 DNFs for this team, but it was also a year that came with 3 wins. He won back at Dover, and he won both of those Richmond races. He swept the weekend there. And it's a season that brought him 10 top 5 finishes and 18 top 10 finishes. And that strong second half of the season and a solid playoffs is what's putting Allgaier back in the championship four. Now, in years past, when he made the Final Four, we really didn't think of Justin Allgaier as much of a threat because we knew that Junior Motorsports mile and a half speed at Homestead just wasn't up to par with all those other contenders. We saw that last year with the big three. But with this year's championship taking place at Phoenix, Allgaier has to be considered as the favorite coming into here because 20 starts at Phoenix in the Xfinity Series, 2 wins, 7 top 5s, and 12 top 10s. He won here 2 years ago. Mike, what are we thinking about the Illinois native Justin Allgaier here? What's he got to do to go win this championship?
I think he's got just as good, if not the best chance of winning this championship as either of the other three. I agree with you guys. Justin Haley, if he gets in, it's going to have to be something crazy. You know, you have to be multiple wrecks or just really right place, right time kind of thing. Justin Allgaier just has to go out there and do what he does at Phoenix. This is a phenomenal racetrack for him where we've seen him lead lap after lap after lap and be super competitive. Like you said, Nick, you look at the year that he's had, and maybe with an exception of, you know, everything that the Briscoes have gone through, it's hard to pick somebody who's more deserving of being a champion than Justin Allgaier. He represents our sport so incredibly well. He's such a great driver to the fans and in the media. I think this is going to be one of his better shots at getting it done. They just have to execute. We've also seen him be in the lead at tracks like this and have a tire go down or something like that happens, and the next thing you know, his season's gone. Almost like Grant Enfinger, you just have to go out there, do what you do, perform the way that you perform at Phoenix, and you'll be right there at the end. I truly do believe Justin Allgaier will be there at the end, and I think he's my favorite going into the championship four here.
Yeah, I really have to agree with you there. And like I said, I really think that this championship race being at Phoenix suits him so much better than it did in years past at Homestead, because last year at Homestead, he was kind of like a Justin Haley this year, like a Martin Truex in 2015. Yeah, he made the championship but he wasn't much of a factor that entire race. But this year changes everything, and I expect that 7 car to go up there and be fast. And that leads us into our next championship 4 contender, and that's that 22 car of Austin Cindric. Boys, 2020 for Austin Cindric was a year in which he proved that he could get it done on the ovals, something he's been knocked on so much for in the past. He won on ovals, not just road courses, because 2020, Cindric found victory lane 5 times. He won both Kentucky races. He got victory at Texas after Kyle Busch got disqualified, because Busch was your initial winner, but Cindric finished second. After that disqualification, Cindric wins. That was his 3rd race win in a row at that point. Following Texas, me and Ian, we went up to Road America, and we saw him put on an absolute ass whooping of the field that day. And he also found the checkered flag at the Daytona Road Course. His season also brought 18 top 5 finishes and 25 top 10 finishes. Those stats alone have to make him a serious threat to win this title. 3 truck starts here, best finish of 9th. And in 5 Xfinity Series starts here, he's got a best finish of 4th. But back in the spring, he finished 8th. But overall, the 22 is definitely one to keep your eyes on, because what a season he's had. He will be back in this car next year. But Ian, what's Austin Cindric got to do to win the championship this year?
Austin Cindric, like you were saying, we were talking about the guy before the season even started and said, this guy's only going to win the road courses. Then he lights it up in Kentucky, gets 2 in a row. Then he gets to win at Texas. And now he's got 5 wins, and he's just been Mr. Consistent, like you said. So I think he's just got to go out there and race the way he does. He's going to have hard competition going up with Chase Briscoe and Justin Allgaier, but I think he's just got to keep it the way that he has been all year long and just stay as consistent as he can. And I think by the end of the night, I think he'll be hoisting that championship trophy if he just keeps it nice and clean like how he has been all season long. So, yeah, definitely.
Biggest competitors are going to be that 98 and that 7 car for sure. Got to stay in front of those 2. That leads us to our last championship 4 contender, and in my opinion, the most deserving to win this championship, and that is that 98 car of Chase Briscoe. So last year, Chase Briscoe was kind of overshadowed a bit because of the championship, or because of the big 3 that we saw in the Xfinity Series last year of Bell, Reddick, and Custer. But with all 3 of those guys moved on, because we saw towards the end of last year, we saw Chase Briscoe put together these really solid runs. And I think kind of all of us at the end of the season were like, he's going to be really good next season. And I remember in the offseason, last year's offseason, when Chase Briscoe said it would take 10 wins to get him a seat in the Cup Series for the 2021 season. Well, with the departure of 2019's Big 3, Briscoe definitely rose to the occasion this year, and he found victory lane 9 times. And to credit that, 16 top 5 finishes and 21 top 10s. And he could have already surpassed the 10-win mark. Had some bad luck not gone his way in races he was leading. But that performance alone landed Briscoe the 14 car following Clint Bowyer's departure at the end of the season, following his retirement at the end of the season. Briscoe will be in Cup next year. Good for him. But the focus here is on the Xfinity Series Championship. He's got one more job he's got to go out and do. 3 Xfinity starts here at Phoenix. Briscoe has a best finish of 6th, which came in the spring. But if he wants to end the year with that championship before heading up to Cup, 6 probably ain't going to cut it at the end. Mike talked me through. 98's had such an emotional, such an emotional season with everything that's gone on. How is Chase Briscoe going to hoist this championship trophy on Saturday?
So Chase Briscoe of the Championship 4 drivers has had by far the best season, one of the best Xfinity seasons I've seen in a long, long time. However, being the best driver in a situation like this comes with an inherent pressure that the other 3 drivers do not have. You're already coming in with a bigger target on your back and a little more pressure on those shoulders. you had the best season. You're the big dog going up to the Cup Series next year. Everybody's looking at you to put the cherry on top of the season and go get that championship. However, what I think bodes well, one thing we've learned about Chase Briscoe is he handles that pressure incredibly well. When things get tough, when there's controversy, or when he needs a win to kind of get going again, he always seems to find a way to get it done. I think it's really going to take something crazy for him to not be there battling with Allgaier at the end for this win. I think he's going to have every opportunity to walk out of the 2020 season as the Xfinity champion. I think it's going to come down to him and Justin Allgaier, in my opinion. I think he's the most talented driver in the championship four. You just have to go out there and be Chase Briscoe. No mistakes. Go out there, and I think you'll be right there at the end.
What really opened my eyes to Chase Briscoe was earlier this year, that first Homestead race. That guy was 7 laps down at one point, and he rallied back and finished in the top 10. That was absolutely insane. I couldn't believe it. So from there on, my eyes were watching Briscoe. Like you said, Mike, he's just got to go out and do what Chase Briscoe does on a Saturday afternoon, and I think he's going to be just fine. So let's make our picks, boys. Mike, I think I know who you're taking for this championship.
Well, listen, my head says one thing, my heart says another. Although my head says what's going on in my heart isn't too bad either. So I'm going to listen to my heart. I'm going to go with the number 7 of Justin Allgaier to win your Xfinity championship.
Hell yeah, he deserves it. I think all 3 of us would love to see something like that happen.
Undoubtedly.
All right, Ian.
All right, I'm kind of in the same position as you. My heart says Allgaier. My brain says Chase Briscoe, and I gotta go with my brain. Chase Briscoe has been the dominant car all year. It seems like every race this guy is competing for a win. So I really think it's going to be most deserving for Chase Briscoe to go and get this championship.
And you guys are really going to make me be that guy. I have to be that guy. I got to pick the 22 car of Austin Cindric in this situation. I do. I don't know, something about Austin Cindric, and I really like him going into this situation because, like Mike said, Briscoe's going to have that pressure on him for being the best all season long. And then Allgaier, he just always seems to run into some troubles. We've seen that all season long. I really do think it's going to come down to the 22 and the 98 car in the end. And I think it's going to come down to a late race restart. And I think we're going to see something wild. And I think we're going to see the 22 car come out on top. So I'm getting the Penske Championship here. Austin Cindric will hoist that trophy, sadly, on Saturday.
Sadly.
It hurts my heart having to say that, but that's who I'm going to go for. And we've lost Mike. We've lost Mike due to laughter.
It sadly just took a second for my brain to process it for whatever reason. Oh, that was great.
22 and 98 have been the best cars all year. And I just think something wild is going to happen. I think there's going to be a late race restart. There's going to be some drama, and that restart's going to go like 4 wide, and that 22 is going to come out on top. And I think there's going to be some wrecked race cars at the end of that race. I can see that happening right now. But it is time. The big dogs, the NASCAR Cup Series Championship at Phoenix. Before we get into that, just kind of scrolling through Twitter, crazy little stat I found here. So, of the 4 championship 4 drivers since Chase Elliott moved to full-time Cup in 2016, Denny Hamlin has the best average finish at Phoenix Raceway with an average finish of 10.89 at this racetrack. Just something to look at as we dive in here. But our 4 championship 4 contenders this year: Brad Keselowski in the 2 car, Joey Logano in the 22 car, Denny Hamlin in the 11, and I was just talking about him, that 9 car of Chase Elliott. Sadly, no Kevin Harvick on that list, but we can thank the NASCAR playoff format for that, and 3 two very bad weeks for the 4 team for that in the round of 8. So let's dive into it. We're going to start with the number 2 car of Brad Keselowski. So Brad Keselowski's last and only Cup championship, came in the 2012 season. That was a good year for me because when I liked that championship a lot, because when Trevor Bayne wasn't running full time at that time, Keselowski was my guy. And the reason for me liking him because I liked his Miller Lite that Dodge, the Blue Deuce.
The Blue Deuce,
I was just
baby.
like, this dude's got gold tires. That is badass. 12-year-old Nick is like, this is so badass. And he's got beer on his car. Let's go. So I was like, Keselowski's my boy. Let's go. But no, back to it. Through the years, we've kind of seen Keselowski is that type of guy who's usually going to go out and get you 3 to 4 wins a year, but he's also going to show you great consistency. And 2020 was no different. This season, Brad got the 4 wins. He won the Coca-Cola 600 thanks to Alan Gustafson's worst pit call ever. So Brad can thank the 9 crew for that one. And then he could thank the 9 crew for this one as well, the 19 for this one, because he took the checker flag at Bristol as well when Chase Elliott and Joey Logano got into it. And then he won at New Hampshire and Richmond. And on top of that, 12 top 5s and 23 top 10s for the 2020 season for Brad Keselowski. It was his consistency that got him through the playoffs this year, and a little bit of luck there in that Martinsville race to get him into another championship 4. And Phoenix, it's been a pretty solid track for Brad. And 22 starts here, he has 6 top 5 finishes and 10 top 10s. He has yet to win here, but with Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch not making the championship 4, the championship gets a little bit more interesting because this might be the first year where a win might not be needed to win the championship, but I expect Keselowski to be up there contending for the win because he's using the same car from those New Hampshire and Richmond wins in which he went out and put on a clinic in those. So, Ian, is your dad going to be a happy man on Sunday? Walk me through how Brad Keselowski gets it done.
Yep, I think that Brad is going to have a really good Sunday. He may not have any wins here at Phoenix, but his stats really show that he's very consistent here. He's only got 1 DNF at Phoenix. And like you said, he won at Richmond and he won at
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. Yep.
New Hampshire, and he's using that same car that he won those 2 races with, and those are both kind of those short to intermediate tracks, and that's definitely what Phoenix is. So I really do think Brad Keselowski has a really good chance of winning that championship and then busting out his 2012 Miller Lite championship class that he had. He said that he's got to watch his drinking, but I think if he wins that championship, I think there's going to be.
He's got to watch his drinking. If he wins the title, oh, yeah.
But you know what he should do? Since Miller Lite is supposedly dropping out, we still haven't heard anything. He should just give a big you and just bring out a Budweiser or something.
I have a 2012 Brad Keselowski championship shirt actually, but that's like a size like small because 9 years ago I didn't have a beer belly, so I was able to fit into a small. I could probably give it to our good buddy Connor Bunny. He might be able to fit in it as he weighs all of 120 pounds. But moving on, Brad Keselowski's teammate Joey Logano. So Joey Logano's season couldn't have started off any better as he opened up the year winning 2 of the first 4 races, Vegas, and he won that first Phoenix race right before the COVID shutdown. His 2020 total so far consists of 3 wins. I talked about it, Vegas, the first Phoenix race, and Kansas, and it's brought him 11 top 5s and 20 top 10 finishes. So, but let's be real here. Logano's win came with a dirty air aided win right there at Kansas. That's how I got into this championship 4 because we knew Kevin Harvick had the faster car there. But guys, I hate to say it. It hurts my heart to say it. He's got to be considered a heavy favorite here. 23 starts here, 2 wins, 5 top 5s, 12 top 10s, and he won that race back here in the spring. I think you have to make Logano a serious threat here. Again, hurts my heart to say it. Mike, talk me through the day of the 22 car. What he's going to need to do on Sunday to get it done.
So, doesn't matter how you got here. You got here. Yeah, it was aero assisted for him to punch his ticket to Phoenix for the championship 4, but he's here. And the thing with Joey Logano that he has over everybody else in the championship 4, he is a competitor. He doesn't care if he has to run over you, trample you, kick you while you're down, step on your throat. Joey Logano does not have very many friends in this series. He likes it that way because he knows at the end of the day, he's got to do what he's got to do to win a championship.
Right.
Nobody, in my opinion, out of the championship 4 has that level of competitiveness that he does. He will do anything it takes to win this championship. He is fast on this racetrack, too. Just like you said, Nick, he won here earlier in the year. That being said, he's also very familiar with this moment. He is a former champion. He knows what it's like when the lights turn on bright and it all comes down to one race for all the marbles. He's been there, and not only has he been there, he's gotten it done in the past. I agree. I think Joey's got to be one of, if not the favorites to win the championship. He's super fast here. He likes this racetrack. Again, the moment won't be too big for him. He's been here and gotten it done in these kind of moments time and time again throughout his career. And like I said, I think he is the best pure competitor in NASCAR.
Oh, yeah, for sure. This is kind of like if he pulls it off on Sunday, he kind of takes a route like he did when he won the 2018 championship. You know, he kind of floated around all year, but when it came down to it, Logano went out, won Martinsville, got himself in a championship 4, and he had one of the best cars at Homestead, went out, won the race, won the championship. So I expect something like that to happen again. This is going to be this championship 4 minus Harvick and Kyle Busch not being in here. I think you got 4 very evenly matched guys. This is going to be an exciting one for sure. But yeah, like Mike said, the competitiveness of Joey Logano, expect him to be a major threat in this one. And that brings me to my next driver, the driver who I might have started to curse here a little bit, the 11 car, Denny Hamlin. Ever since Mike gave me that playoffs hat, Denny Hamlin, he's been on thin ice. He was on thin ice that entire round of 8. You'd think by looking at Denny Hamlin's 2020 stats that he was going to just coast into this championship 4. It was the exact opposite of that. It came down to team orders from Joe Gibbs Racing with the 20 and Kevin Harvick not being able to successfully dump Kyle Busch. That's how Denny Hamlin got here because he had a really bad round of 8. He did not get it done, but he's here. That's all that matters. Doesn't matter how he got here. He's here now. Denny's had a phenomenal 2020 season. He has 7 wins, 17 top 5s, and 20 top 10 finishes. Yeah, Hamlin was disappointed that Harvick didn't advance to Phoenix, as he and Harvick were the 2 dominators of the 2020 season. It seemed like one race Harvick's winning, the next race Denny's winning. And then here we go, 30 starts at Phoenix. Denny Hamlin has 2 wins here, and he's got 13 top 5s and 17 top 10s to go with it. His most recent win came here last fall when he advanced to the championship 4 by winning at Phoenix. All the chances, all the disappointment and heartbreaks is this year we finally crown the 11, the champion. Ian, talk me through how Denny gets this done.
I think Denny's got a really good shot of getting this. Like you said, Denny won this race last year in the fall to get himself into the Final 4 last year to race for a championship at Homestead. But we have seen it year after year, or every time that Denny is competing for a championship, that something always goes wrong. We saw last year at Homestead when they put that giant-ass piece of tape on that grill. It just seems like Lady Luck does not go.
Yeah, 2014, Denny made that pit call to stay out on the racetrack, giving Harvick the championship. And then 2010, with Jimmy Johnson, man, that was tough.
Yeah, but I really do think that Denny Hamlin, if they keep it clean, they don't choke, they don't screw the car up at all. I really think that he will coast to this championship because besides Kevin Harvick, he has been the dominant car all year. He's been very, very consistent. He's been racking up a bunch of top fives this year. It's been absolutely ridiculous. And he's really, really good here at Phoenix. So I think if he just keeps it up, he'll be hoisting that championship trophy for the first time. Just don't choke.
That's the thing. The only way Denny Hamlin loses his championship if he loses it himself, which we've seen before. If he wants to get this done, he has got to go out and perform. Otherwise, it's just going to be another kind of disappointing season. Another year, Denny was a favorite to win a championship and didn't get it done. So he's got a lot of pressure going on him, and I think him and Hamlin. I think him and Joey Logano could make this really interesting because those two have got some history together. So I'm really looking forward to it and seeing what Denny can do. And that leads us to our last championship or contender. That would be the 9 car of Chase Elliott. The 9 of Chase Elliott finally advances out of the round of 8 into the championship for the first time in his 5th full season. It's crazy how young Chase Elliott is and how many opportunities he's had, and he's finally here now. Here's the thing about Chase Elliott. The kid showed up when it mattered. He got 2 of his 4 race wins in the playoffs, and his most important win being that dominating win at Martinsville last weekend. He was not going to be denied at that racetrack. He's had so much bad luck there in the past with Denny Hamlin, and yeah, Chase finally got it done in Martinsville. And on the season, 14 top 5 finishes, 21 top 10 finishes, easily making him that most dominant Hendrick car. This is also the first time that Chevrolet has made the championship four since 2016. What happened then? Chase Elliott's teammate, Jimmy Johnson, goes on to win his 7th championship. But Chase has got some work to do if he wants to bring home Chevy's first series title since 2016. Because in 9 starts here, his best finish is 2nd, but that was way back in 2017. Last 5 starts here, he's only got 2 top 10 finishes here. His most recent being a 7th place finish back in the spring. That will not win him a championship. So let's close it up here. Chase Elliott clinched his Xfinity Series title bet, his Nationwide Series title, at this racetrack in 2014. Mike, is he going to do the same for his first Cup championship on Sunday? Walk me through how Chase Elliott wins his first title.
So I think Chase Elliott has a tremendous chance of getting this championship this weekend. Like you said, Nick, one thing that we've kind of questioned with Chase in the past, I think he's unequivocally proved the doubters wrong on. The kid is clutch. Like you said, he's got some big wins in the playoffs. He had to win or go home to make it through to the championship for this week, and just got it done this very past weekend in the biggest race win of his young career. He's riding high off that victory. Nobody's carrying more momentum. He's almost like on the opposite plane of a guy like Denny Hamlin. Denny was riding high out of the regular season and has really sputtered in the playoffs. Yeah. Chase Elliott's, I want to say the opposite, because I don't think he sputtered in the regular season, but he's really come into his form. We've seen with this playoff format sometimes, if you get hot at the right time, you can ride that momentum. He's got a very veteran crew chief in Alan Gustafson pulling the reins atop the box. I think that bodes well for him as well. We've talked about Alan making some mistakes in the past here. They're going to have to make sure they're perfect with the strategy calls, the pit calls, and things like that on Sunday. But Chase Elliott is an immensely talented driver. He's 24 years old, incredibly young. He's going to be here time and time again throughout his career. Can he get it done the first time is a big question. I think he's going to have every opportunity to get it done. Now, the question is, will he?
Yeah. All right. Here we go. It's time to make our championship picks. Ian, following 312 laps at the Phoenix Raceway on Sunday, your 2020 NASCAR Cup Series championship champion is who?
I gotta say that this year's Cup Series champion will be the number 9 of Chase Elliott. He has some pretty good stats here in 9 races, 2 top 5s of 5 top 10s. And something that's really cool that I read in 1988, you had the Lakers win the NBA championship, and you had the Dodgers win the World Series, and then Bill Elliott in the 9 car won the NASCAR Winston Cup Series championship. And then look what happened this year. Lakers won, Dodgers won. So I think this lines up very well for Chase Elliott to win it with Lady Luck on his side. But he is very fast here at Phoenix. So I think this is going to be huge for NASCAR if old Clyde gets it done and wins that championship.
A superstitious pick.
Very
I like
nice.
it. All right, Mike. Same question to you. Following Sunday's race, the 2020 NASCAR Cup Series champion is who?
The 2020 NASCAR Cup Series champion is going to be the 22 of Joey Logano. He's fast here. He knows how to get it done in the big moment. Nobody wants it more than Joey. Nobody competes like Joey. I just think that, with the form coming into the race that Denny Hamlin's been on, this being Chase's first time here, I think all the signs point to Joey.
All right.
All right.
Following Sunday's race at Phoenix, the 2020 NASCAR Cup Series champion is going to be the guy that's making me a ton of money this year. This is the year I picked Denny Hamlin for this reason because he won me a lot of money. That number 11 car, it is his time. No more heartbreaks, no more choking it away, no more disappointment. 2020 is Denny Hamlin's year. I finally think he's going to win his first Cup Series championship. And I think with Kevin Harvick being out of it, I think that makes his path to a championship a little bit easier. But he's got to go through that 22 car, Joey Logano. I think that's going to be his toughest competitor on Sunday. Is it going to come down to Logano and Hamlin? But in the end, if Gabe Hart doesn't slap a 40-foot piece of tape on the grill, I think Denny Hamlin is finally gonna win his first Cup Series championship, get his 8th win, and he's gonna win me a big bonus. I'm gonna be really happy.
I tell you, man, if Denny Hamlin does win this championship, you get $50 from everyone if you win the championship. You're up $320 right now. You would be up $770 freaking dollars if Denny Hamlin wins the championship. So, yeah, buddy.
Good year for me money-wise in the bet system. I love it. But yeah, Denny Hamlin, he's going to be your 2020 Cup Series championship. Well, there you have it, guys. We just went through all 12 championship or contenders in their respectful series. We've made our picks. We're going to seal for right. Now all that's left to do is just tune in and enjoy championship weekend from Phoenix. I think it's going to be a great success. You boys have anything else to say?
I'm just excited for this championship weekend. A little bummed too because I don't have Kevin Harvick running for a championship. Noah Gregson's out, but I guess I'm not going to be worried this weekend. I guess, but hell, it's going to be exciting because any one of these guys in all of the series, probably besides Justin Haley, has a shot at winning the championship. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I agree. I think out of all the series, you can make a case for just about every one of the drivers to have a legitimate chance at winning a championship Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I just hope we have one hell of a race on Sunday. I hope we have a phenomenal race to also give a very warm send-off to Clint Boyer and Jimmy Johnson both. Jimmy is an absolute legend of our sport, probably the best of this generation. Some do argue that he is the best of all time. We're not going to have that conversation tonight because I want to go to bed before 4 a.m. But again, I respect the hell out of what Jimmy Johnson's accomplished in this sport. Been a great ambassador for the sport. So thank you, Jimmy, everything you've done for NASCAR. And I hope you have a great finish in your last race and we send you off doing well. And same thing to Clint Boyer. Clint's been one of the most fun personalities around NASCAR, sometimes polarizing as well. I can't wait to see what he does in the booth, and going to miss seeing him on the racetrack each week, and really hoping we see him win and throwing those Busch Lattes around like a crazy man.
Yeah, I remember when I first so I started watching in 2011, and that was that was the end of Jimmy's 5-year run of winning championships, so I kind of got lucky with that. But
yeah, lucky.
Even still watching from 2011 to now, in those early years, I was like, dude, this guy just keeps on winning, and it pissed me off, but that's just how good that he was, how good the team was. Him and Chad Knaus were that dynamic duo. They are both legends in what they do. Uh, it's gonna be weird not seeing Jimmy Johnson at the racetrack full time next year. He's gonna be going on to better things in IndyCar, so I'm excited to see what he can do in an IndyCar. I think that'll be really cool to see. And then for Clint Boyer, I've said this a lot of times. If there's one guy in the world I can drink a beer with, it's Clint Boyer. Hell, if there's one guy in the world I can shotgun a beer with, it's Clint Boyer, because he's the life of the party, and I really think he's going to add some oomph to that Fox booth next year, and it's going to be really exciting. And then also, this is Germain Racing's last race. This is Levine Family Racing's last race, so best of wishes to those guys. Hope the 95 and 13 can have good runs in their last showings. So, yeah. Other than that, our picks are made. Tune in on Sunday. Class dismissed.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Stock Car Spectacle. You can find us on all podcast platforms. Make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can find me, Nick, and Mike on Twitter and Instagram, so make sure to give us a follow along with the Stock Car Spectacle accounts. Make sure to follow our good buddy Patrick Cotto with the Cotto's Mojo. That podcast is available on all podcast platforms. So that'll do it for us. I'm Ian Jortson.
I'm Mike Gamble.
And I'm Nick Kinzel.
Enjoy championship weekend, everybody. We'll see you next week.